Hello, literature lovers. Welcome to LittWit Club. Hope you all are doing great. And today we are going to discuss The Ox by H.G. Bates. The author is, Bates is the author, and it was first published in 1939 in John O. London's Weekly. और ये शॉर्ट स्टोरी है जैसा कि हम जानते हैं द ओवरव्यू देख लेते हैं द ऑक्स इज अ शॉर्ट स्टोरी बाय एच.जी. बेट्स सेंटर अराउंड मिस थॉरलो majorly emotionally detached and overworked women. So एक स्टोरी जो जिसमें मिसेस थॉरलो के अराउंड ही सेंटर्ड है जो कि काफी मेजरली इमोशनली डिटेच्ड और ओवरवर्क्ड वुमेन है. The story highlights the emotional and social tragedy of poverty. Okay, emphasizing how relentless economic struggle can lead to a emotional estrangement within family. So the let's begin the story. Mrs. Thorolo, the protagonist, lives with her husband and two sons in a small house atop a hill. एक हिल पे अपने हस्बैंड और दो बच्चों के साथ वो रहती हैं. She works like an ox. Okay, वो हमेशा एक ox की तरह काम करती है. That's why the title of the work is the ox. Laboring various homes from dawn to till dusk to support her family. तो वो सुबह से शाम तक बिना कुछ सोचे समझे वो केवल अपने फैमिली के लिए काम कर रही हैं. That's why she is known as an ox. Over 15 years, she saves 54 pounds, hoping to eventually make it 100. So 15 साल से वो लगातार काम कर रही हैं ताकि वो 100 पाउंड इकट्ठा कर सके अपने बच्चों के फ्यूचर के लिए. अभी तक उन्होंने 54 पाउंड्स ही इकट्ठा किए हैं. हर हस्बैंड अ हेज कटर इज इमोशनली एंड फिजिकली डिस्टेंट. तो उनका जो हस्बैंड वो एक हेज कटर है बट वो इमोशनली और फिजिकली उनसे दूर ही रहता है. ही रेयरली कम्स होम setting his wife's cold and measured nature. So because of her nature वो काफी कम ही घर पे आता है. ऑन संडे ही स्टेल्स हर सेविंग्स एंड डिसअपियर्स. एक संडे को वो उनके जितने भी 54 पाउंड्स थे उसको वो लेकर चुराकर वो और गायब हो जाता है. फिर soon police arrive to inform her that he has been arrested for murder. तो अचानक से कुछ देर में ही फिर पुलिस आती है और वो उनको इन्फॉर्म करती है कि आपके हस्बैंड ने मर्डर किया इस और इसलिए उनको अरेस्ट कर लिया गया. मिस थॉरलो shows no reaction to the crime. उन्हें इस बात से फर्क नहीं पड़ता है कि उसके हस्बैंड ने कोई मर्डर किया है. हर ओनली कंसर्न इज वेदर दे फाउंड हर लॉस्ट मनी. और उसका मेन कंसर्न क्या है कि जो उसने पैसे सेव किए थे क्या वो पैसे उनको मिले. आफ्टर द प्रोसिक्यूशन her wealthy brother offers to take her sons and she agrees unable to support them herself. So उस जो मिसेस थॉरलो है उनका ब्रदर जो है काफी वेल्दी है. वो ऑफर करता है कि उनके दोनों बच्चों को वो अपने साथ ले जाता है क्योंकि अभी जो है प्रोसिक्यूशन का चल रहा है चीजें तो इससे उनके ऊपर बैड इफेक्ट पड़ेगा. साथ में वो इन बच्चों को सपोर्ट भी नहीं कर पाएंगे. तो वो उनको जाने देती है दोनों बच्चों को. The boys grows accustomed to rich living and later refuse to return to their mother. ठीक है. फिर जब चीजें सही हो जाती हैं उनकी मिसेस थॉरलो उन बच्चों को लेने जाती हैं लेकिन तब तक देखती हैं क्या हम देखते हैं क्या कि वो दोनों बच्चे ही काफी रिच लाइफ स्टाइल से अकस्टम्ड हो चुके हैं और वो अपने माँ के साथ वापस नहीं आना चाहते. दिस फाइनल रिजेक्शन devastates her more than the loss of her money or their husband imprisonment. So ये जो फाइनल रिजेक्शन था अपने बच्चों की तरफ से ये उनको पूरी तरीके से ब्रेक कर देता है. इतना उनको दर्द या हर्ट वो अपने पैसे के खोने से या हस्बैंड के इम्प्रिजनमेंट से भी नहीं हुई थी. द स्टोरी एंड्स विद इमोशनल एम्प्टीनेस एंड आइसोलेशन. और ऐसे ही स्टोरी एंड होती है जिसमें हमें इमोशनल एम्प्टीनेस आइसोलेशन ट्रेजिक आउटकम ऑफ हर लवलेस लाइफ. और उनके लव में कोई उनकी लाइफ में कोई भी लव नहीं रहता है. इसी आउटकम के साथ ये स्टोरी एंड होती है. अगर इसमें हम कुछ सिंबल्स की बात कर लें तो द ऑक्स जो कि टाइटल है मेटाफर है माइंडलेस लेबर इमोशनल सेपरेशन और बर्डन का. सो दिस इज ऑल. 54 पाउंड्स रिप्रेजेंट द इंटायर लाइफ पर्पस एंड ड्रीम सिंबलाइजेस फॉल्स सिक्योरिटी. हाँ उस चीज का सिंबल है. ओल्ड न्यूज़पेपर जो कि वो पढ़ा करती हैं मिसेस थॉरोलो का एंटरटेनमेंट केवल इसी ओल्ड न्यूज़पेपर को पढ़ के मिलता है. Her only contact with the outside world, showing mental stagnation, the hilltop house, physical and emotional isolation from society. तो दिस इज द सिंबल्स. नैरेटिव टेक्निक की अगर हम बात करें तो थर्ड पर्सन ऑमनिसेंट नैरेटर है इसमें. राइटर के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हम पूरी चीजें देखते हैं. काफी प्लेन रियलिस्टिक प्रोज है जो एक ग्रिम टोन है उसको सूट कर रहा है. आयरनी और कॉन्ट्रास्ट भी हमें देखने को मिलता है मटेरियल और इमोशनल वैल्यूज के बीच में. Powerful use of emotional understanding. Emotions are showing through action and silence. So before coming to MCQs, I would like to tell you that we will bring you SLST 2025 मॉक. ओके, मॉक रिलेटेड आएगा इससे. बस एक दो और वर्क्स हैं जिसको हम लोग कंप्लीट करके हम डायरेक्ट मॉक पे आएंगे, और हम लोग कोशिश करेंगे कि हर दिन आपको कुछ मॉक पेपर कराएं, सो दैट कि आप सितंबर तक, जो कि एग्जाम का डेट है, तब तक काफी कुछ चीजें आपके पास हों. So let's begin. The very first question is, who is the central character of the story? Story में central character कौन है? Whether it is Mrs. Morgan, Miss Julian, Mrs. Thurlow or Mr. Thurlow. So it is Mrs. Thurlow. Why is the title The Ox appropriate for Miss Thurlow? So whether she is stubborn and wild, or whether she is rich and strong, or she toils relentlessly without emotion, or she owns an ox. So, because she toils relentlessly without emotion, that's why she is called as an ox. Where does Mrs. Thoreau live? On the riverside, on the top of a hill, in the barren, near a railway station. So, she lives on the top of a hill. What base describes Mrs. Thorolow's personality? Whether she is joyful and imaginative, cold, unimaginative, hardworking, warm and affectionate, dreamy and poetic. So she is very much cold, unimaginative and hardworking. How many children does Mrs. Thorolow have? Whether she has two sons, one son, three son, or स्टोरी में बताया नहीं गया. So she has two sons. हाँ, दो बच्चे हैं उनके. What is Mrs. Thorolow's occupation? Whether she is a nurse, a cook, a domestic servant in various houses, a farmer. So she is a domestic servant in various houses. What is the amount Miss Thorolow saved after 15 years? 84 pounds, 154 pounds, 100 pounds, or 54 pounds. So she just saves only 54 pounds. What is Mrs. Thorolow's dream after her saving reached to a certain amount, which is $100? ठीक है कि $100 सेव कर लूंगी तो उनका क्या सपना है? To buy a new house, to travel to London, to secure her children's future, or to marry again. So to secure her children's future. What kind of relationship does Mrs. Thorolow have with her husband? Loving and supportive, formal and courteous, distant and strained, playful and romantic. So it is distant and strained. What is Mr. Thorolow's profession? Whether he is a carpenter, a hedge cutter, a coal miner, or a newspaper seller. So he is a hedge cutter. How does Mr. Thorolow betray his wife? By running away with another woman, by steals her savings, by sets fire to the house, lies about his job. So he steals her savings, $54 जो उसने इकट्ठा करके रखे हैं उसको वो चुरा लेते हैं. What crime does Mr. Thorlow commit? Whether he committed robbery, burglary, murder, or forgery. So he committed murder. What is Mrs. Thorlow's response upon learning about her husband's arrest? So whether she cries bitterly, she tries to bail him out, she shows no emotion, she faints. So she shows no emotions. What does Mr. Thorlow ask the policeman after her husband's arrest? Is he guilty? Where is the body? Was any money found on him? Can I visit him? So she is very much um, tense about the money which he has stolen from her. Why did Mr. Thorlow steal his wife's money? To buy food, to escape his miserable life, to gamble, to pay his debt. So he wants to escape this miserable life. How does Mrs. Thorlow entertain herself in the evening? By watching TV, reading old newspaper, listening to radio, singing song. So she used to read an old newspaper. What base describes Miss Thorlow's imagination? Poetic and creative, narrow and unimaginative, artistic, intellectual. So she is very much narrow-minded and unimaginative. Who offers to take care of Mrs. Thorlow's sons after the husband's arrest? So a schoolmaster, a social worker, her brother, her neighbor. So it is her brother who offers to take care of her sons. Why does Mrs. Thorlow agree to leave her sons with her brother? She is ill, she is moving to another place, she cannot support them, she wants them to study. So at that time she cannot support them. What is her brother's social status? Whether he is also poor, he is middle class, he is rich, or he is homeless. So he is rich. How do the children respond after staying with their uncle? They wish to return, they remain indifferent, they refuse to come back, they write to their mother. So they refuse to come back with her mother. What is the final shock for Miss Thurlow? Her house burned down, her brother disowns her children reject her, she is arrested. So her children reject her. Which loss is most painful to Miss Thurlow? Her savings, her husband, her house, or her son's love? So it is her son's love. What is the central theme of the Ox? Whether it is a political satire, whether it is a tragedy of poverty, mystery, or heroic sacrifice. So it is the tragedy of poverty. What does Miss Thorolow's character symbolize? Beauty and passion, poverty and emotional neglect, wealth and luxury, ambition. So it symbolizes poverty and emotional neglect. Which word base describes her marriage? Harmonious, respectful, broken, or loving? So it is broken. What kind of life does Miss Thorolo lead? Luxurious life, lonely and miserable, exciting, fulfilled. So she lives a lonely and miserable life. What drives Mr. Thorolo away from his home? His wife's coldness, his job, his love for another woman, his addiction. So it is his wife's coldness. What emotion does Mrs. Thorolo lack for her children? Worry, love, interest in their study, discipline. So it is love which she lacks for her children. Why is Mrs. Thorolo compared to a ox? So she eats a lot, she has a horn, she is beast-like in her work ethic, she is calm and voice. So she is beast-like. What does the hilltop house symbolize? Comfort, isolation, beauty, or celebration? So it symbolizes isolation. Which social issue is most clearly addressed in the Oaks? Gender equality, class mobility, poverty and the emotional consequences, urbanization. So it is poverty and emotional consequences. What can be said about the narration style of the story? First person romantic, omniscient and detached, diary like confession, stream of consciousness. So it is in a omniscient narration and detached. What does Miss Thorolow's value most? Education or food, reputation or money? So in the starting, she value most the money. How is Miss Thorolow's emotional world described? As a rich and expressive, suppressed and barren, overactive, dreamy. So she is suppressed and barren. What happens to her bag of savings? Lost in fire, stolen by children, taken by husband, or given to her brother. So it is taken by her husband. What is her reaction during the visit to her jailed husband? Tear and please, silence, inquiring about her money. She forgives him. She wants her money back. What is ironic about relationship with her children? She spoils them. They love her but stay away. She sacrifices for them, yet they reject her. She never wanted them. So she sacrifices for them, but they reject her. Which symbol is central to the story? So there you will find newspaper and big bag of coin as a symbol. Huh. But a bag of coin is what a symbol of future hope. What lesson does the story give about parenting? So love alone is enough. Financial care is all that matters. Emotional support is a vital as material support. Strictness ensures success. So both emotional and material supports are must be balanced. What feeling dominates the ending? Hope, relief, bitterness and loss, celebration. So it is bitterness and loss. The word ox in the title is used as simile, hyperbole, metaphor or fun. So it is used as a metaphor. What literary device does best use to convey realism? Symbolism, fantasy elements, rhyming dialogue, direct author's commentary. So it is symbolism. What quality defines the narrator's tone? Sentimental, mocking, sympathetic, or sarcastic? So it is very much sympathetic. What is the final emotional state of Miss Thurlow? Whether says joyful, emotionally numb and broken, determined, regretful. So says emotionally numb and broken. The story gives insight to which aspect of society? Celebration of rural life, the emotional cost of poverty, success through hard work, power of education. So it is emotional cost of poverty. The main tragedy in the Ox is imprisonment, theft, maternal rejection, homelessness. So it is maternal rejection. What base describe the writing style? Lyrical and symbolic, complex and ornate, plain and realistic, magical and imaginative. So it is plain and realistic. What is the purpose of introducing the rich brother? To rescue Mrs. Thorlow, to show the contrast between wealth and poverty, to act as a villain to resolve the plot. So it is to show the contrast between wealth and poverty. What is the emotional climax of the story? So whether when Mrs. Thorlow cries, when she loses the money, when her son rejects her, when the police arrive. So when her son rejects her, it is the climax of the story. So thanks for watching. I have an announcement for you all that every Sunday at 7 p.m. means in the evening we will start quiz on grammar on our Telegram channel. So join it. Thanks for watching. मिलते हैं next video में.